How's everyone doing? Just want to hop on and talk a little bit about the Easton Axis 4mm arrows. I've been shooting them for probably about a month or so now. I was shooting them out, or am shooting them out of my VXR 31.5, 29.5 inch draw length, 80 pounds. And originally I had it set up with the Black Eagle 5mm Rampage. I was set up at 507 grains for total arrow weight, and I used iron wool components on that. Shooting with the Max Stealth vanes, they shot great. I killed a bunch of animals with that arrow setup. But when the 4mm Axis arrows came out, I was really wanting to try them out. And it took me a little bit to kind of convince myself that I should switch because my setup was dialed. So I was hesitant to do so, but glad that I kind of did. I like tinkering with things. I have the ability to tune what I can, so it's not a big drastic jump between the two. Now when you purchase an Easton Axis arrow, you can get like this if you just get the bare shaft. These are 250 spine, due for my draw length and weight. All the ones that I've gotten come with the blue Knox. I'm not 100% sure if they all come blue Knox, but blue Knox are all the ones I've ordered, 18 of them, and got them all blue Knox. And they come with this right here is the black anodized aluminum outsert, and frankly I think these aren't very good. Not a huge fan of outserts, not really even a huge fan of half outs, but these ones, I've had them bend, and they don't quite protect the end of the shaft here. These have just a really small lip on them, and yeah, they're not the greatest, I think, for the setup. There's really, I mean, to keep the cost down, I understand why they went this route. They do have titanium ones that are a little bit lighter. If I'm not mistaken, these are 50 or 55 grain. I'm not sure what the titanium ones are, but this is how it comes. And I knew that if I had it at my draw length with these, I'd have to really bump up the tip weight or add a lot of weight to the back. And I didn't want to add a boatload of weight to the back. I could have probably added a wrap and did some larger vanes on the back, but the way I wanted to do, since I am shooting the 4mm, I wanted something a little bit lower profile, something that's going to fly really good at further distances. I'm a Western hunter, and there's days that you have to deal with the rain like this, or you're dealing with heavy winds and long distances. So I didn't want to have a bunch of weight back here with like the Max Stealth vanes or something similar to that. I wanted something that's going to fly really well out at distance. So this is the setup that I have now. Shooting 4 Fletch AAE. These are the Pro Max Hunters. They're super low profile. Well, they're a higher profile, smaller vane, and they work really good. Just because the birds are going a little bit crazy, but they work great. I'm really pleased with how they steer, being they are a little bit higher profile but smaller vane. I've shot them with a larger broadhead. I'm shooting the 100 grain annihilators out of them, which are absolutely deadly. I've shot them with the larger annihilator, the XLs, and I've had zero issues, being that with the 4 Fletch, it helps steer a little bit. Now, as I mentioned prior, I'm shooting 507 grains, right around there, and I really like where that arrow is with my setup. I didn't want to really tinker with my sight that much, and I knew that my pins are right where they are. I didn't want to mess with my sight tape. I didn't really want to do any of that. I wanted to get this arrow to the same weight that I was shooting prior to getting these. So being that these are a lighter GPI, I needed to figure something out. I decided that I was gonna bulk up the front end. You can see this sleeve here. The whole front components are Ethic components. This is actually an aluminum collar on it. I'm trying to think what it is. I think it's 25 grains if I'm not mistaken. And it slides over the shaft, gives it really good rigidity up front compared to the factory aluminum one. And then inside is a steel post, like half out kind of style component. And I have that at 75 grains. So a total of 100 grains with the components, and running the 100 grain annihilator, I have a total of 200 grains up front. Shaft and back, I'm at 507. I did a lot of math, which is definitely not my strong suit, but these things fly like hammers. Well, they hit like hammers, fly like darts. I shot my mule deer with them out in South Dakota. It wasn't very far. It was only 26 yards. However, it was a pretty good quartering away. Went in right at the front shoulder, came out his back leg, and it got stuck like this right here. That was the last thing that was in it. And when it ran, it snapped off right here. I have noticed that the 4mm is slightly weaker in comparison to my 5mm. Just the components, I think, up front. This is about as stout as you can get it without it being somehow sleeved further down or what have you. They fly extremely well in the wind. I noticed just kind of farting around when I was out in South Dakota. I took a 71-yard shot, broadhead and all, and it hit right where I was aiming, and it was 10 to 12, maybe 15 mile an hour gusts. There's minimal arrow drift or wind drift on these. It's pretty impressive. I do like how they penetrate. I wouldn't say they penetrate much more than the 5mm. Now, that being said, I am shooting, like I've mentioned, the annihilator, and what happens with the annihilator is it opens up the wound cavity because the scoops, and it reduces the drag on the arrow. So that being said, I don't really have much drag coefficient on the arrow shaft when it hits the animal. But all said and done, these arrows are quite amazing. I actually did a 3D shoot with them a few months back, shot really well with them. They're super easy to tune, very easy to build. The only downside is if you really want to beef it up, you're going to have to look at getting some sort of components like this. Now, if you're planning on shooting deep 6, you can go with that route, and it'd probably be a little bit better option for you. I know that there are some companies that have broadheads that are just glue in. You don't have to worry about the threaded part of it. That being said, shooting the annihilators or any sort of standard broadhead that you can get at any sports store, anything like that, you're going to be shooting the standard thread. I believe it's at 832, and you're going to have to run something similar to the Ethics or the factory outsert to make it work. And yeah, all said and done, 507 grains, and flies very, very well. And I'm quite pleased with them, other than the fact that they're crazy expensive. So that you got to take in consideration. They're almost double the cost of what a 5mm would be after it's all said and done. I'm genuinely not 100% sure if it's really worth being double. If you do like something that flies slightly better in higher wind situations, and this would be definitely a good arrow, or any sort of 4mm arrow, to be honest with you. But if you're just shooting from a tree stand 20-30 yards, you don't really have to worry about that, or anything that you're not going to be hunting out west and doing a really far shots. Even still, the 5mm works great for that. So it really just comes down to, it's your money, what you want to spend it on. I got these for a good deal, so that's kind of why I went this route, and I'm probably going to be sticking with this for a while. I do want to try the Black Eagle X Impacts, kind of compare them side by side. But yeah, great arrow. When I built this, I was looking at a total arrow weight, so the 507 grains. I wasn't overly concerned about front of center, but just the way that I did build it ended up being about 17 and change percentage front of center. So works really well, and I am liking this setup. So I think I'm going to be running it for the next year, and really seeing what I can do with him. I have yet to take a pig with him. The only animal that I have, well, any large game animal that I have taken with him is that mule deer. Is about pretty close to 300 pounds on the hoof. So pretty big animal, and it worked well. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me at any time, and give these a test if you want.